This is Ume.
Say hi.
The pay is the lowest in Japan, and I would say words to them that I thought were Japanese, but it's uchinaguchi. And they were like, huh? Like, what is that? Nihongo-janaiyo. And I was like, what do you mean it's not Japanese? Like, I learned this from my mom.
So could you briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Mariko, and I am from America and Okinawa. I'm half Okinawan, half American, and I live in Yokohama.
So you were born in Okinawa?
Yes, I was born in Okinawa in Chatan on Camp Lester. My dad was in the Air Force, so I was born on a military base. Because my dad was in the Air Force, I lived on Kadena Air Force Base or Air Base for a few years when I was younger.
After that, did you live in Okinawa the rest of your life?
No, I did not live in Okinawa the rest of my life. I grew up moving around all over the world. After Okinawa, my family and I moved to Spain for a little bit, and then we moved to Germany, and we moved kind of like back to the US and then other parts of Japan. And then when I was an adult, I moved back to Okinawa for the Kempi program when I was in university, and also for the JET program after university.
How is your childhood experience with Okinawan side of you?
Yeah, I would spend a lot of my summer vacations in Okinawa. So between school, my mom would take me and my sister to Okinawa to spend more time with my grandparents and relatives, like
Every year?
almost every year. When we lived in like Aomori in Tokyo when I was younger, we would go for like Fuyuyasumi for winter break and Natsuyasumi for summer break. So we would go almost twice a year. But when we lived in America, it was like once a year or maybe once every 2 years.
So your mom talks to you in Japanese in America?
Yes. Yeah, I learned Japanese and some uchinaguchi from my mom growing up. So actually it's interesting. Sometimes like I would make friends in school who, you know, would be mixed like me and they could speak Japanese. And I would say words to them that I thought were Japanese, but it's uchinaguchi. And they were like, huh? Like, what is that? Nihongo-janaiyo. And I was like, what do you mean it's not Japanese? Like, I learned this from my mom. And I had those experiences a few times growing up, and then I realized, oh, uchinaguchi is not Japanese. Like, it's a different language. Yeah, so yeah.
Interesting. Can you explain a little bit about Kempi program?
Sure. Yeah. So the Kempi program is a program sponsored by, sorry, that's my cat. It's a program sponsored by the Okinawan government, and it's for people who have Okinawan ancestry. So it's like Okinawan descendants from all over the world, and they are given the chance to study in Okinawa, whether it's to just, you know, go to school and like learn more about Okinawan culture or like further their Japanese language studies, or they can kind of do like a training program so they can learn how to do like bingata or like learn how to play the sanshin, learn how to make sanshin, like other cultural traditional things too.
What about the JET program you participated?
Yeah, so the JET program is a program sponsored by the Japanese government through the Ministry of Education, I think Monbu Kagakusho. It stands for the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program, and they host people from all over the world either to teach English in Japanese schools or to do what I did. I was a coordinator for international relations. I was a CIR. So I worked at Urasoe Shiakusho, Urasoe City Hall, for 3 years, and I did like translation, interpretation, event planning. I worked with people from the base, sometimes from Camp Kinzer, and I did that for 3 years.
Nice. What was it like to study in Okinawa?
Oh, studying in Okinawa was a lot of fun. When I first arrived, like I had never attended a Japanese school before because growing up I always lived on military bases and I just went to American schools. So it was like my first time at like going to a school with like, I don't know, just everyone around me speaking Japanese. So I was a bit nervous at first. But the class that I was placed in for the exchange students, it was a mix of, you know, like Americans, there were Chinese students, Taiwanese, German, Korean. It was very international. and we were a very tight-knit community. Like we did like study groups together, and I had a class about Okinawan studies too. So I had the opportunity to go all around Okinawa to learn more about the history and the culture with my classmates. So yeah, that was a really good opportunity.
How is it like to work in Okinawa?
I was fresh out of university and it was my first job, and just, taken out of America and into like a Japanese workplace was really strange at first. It took a while to get used to working with like Japanese, government, like local government. Like you have to sign so many papers, and so I was like, dealing with all that stuff, translating these forms for the foreigners in my city. It took a while to get used to it, but my coworkers were really great, especially because I have Okinawan roots. I feel like they were able to get used to me like easier than like because like I understood some Uchinaguchi, like I know like the history and the customs of Okinawa, so I feel like they felt like I was more of their friend. Yeah, so yeah.
You want to be introduce you?
This is Ume.
Say hi. Sniffing, just sniffing.
Yeah, this is one of my cats, Ume. There's another one over there named Ichigo, and he's not really in the mood to say hi right now.
Which mindset do you think you have more, or American, Okinawan, or Japanese?
That's a good question. I think I have probably more of an American mindset, probably just because of like my education. I just went to American schools growing up, but then I've lived in Japan and Okinawa for most of my life, and I feel more comfortable living here than I do in the US. Like I feel like in Japan, even though I still get stared at because I don't look, like I'm from here, but I just feel more like it's easier to live here than in America. But I don't think I really have that much of a Japanese mindset. I would say it's more Okinawan than over Japanese. Yeah.
What about the identity? I feel there are so many like people in different countries who has the Okinawan backgrounds. They are more like, expressing themselves as an Okinawa.
Yeah, that's kind of something I guess I struggled with growing up, because when I was younger, I feel like I identified more as Japanese, just like without knowing too much about the history of Okinawa and how it's not Japan like it used to be Ryukyu Kingdom, right? But then like after Kempi and like connecting more with fellow diaspora and learning more about like the history of the Ryukyus in Okinawa, I think that's when I kind of figured out, like I'm Uchinanchu. And so then like now I make it a point to say I'm half Okinawan, half American instead of half Japanese. Like also growing up, going to like American schools, people, they don't know what Okinawa is. They know Japan, but they don't know Okinawa. So it was just more convenient to say, I'm half Japanese. But now I say I'm half Okinawan, and it's in southern Japan. So yeah.
Have you ever thought of living in Okinawa in the future?
I would love to live in Okinawa again. It's just, as you're probably familiar, just the economy in Okinawa is not the best. Like the pay is the lowest in Japan, and I would love to be able to retire there maybe eventually, like in 30 years or something. I have to keep like gambaru like out here in Yokohama and save up money, but yeah, I would love to move to Okinawa. Like my parents also plan on retiring in Okinawa too, so it would be nice to like live close to them and my other relatives there too.
What do you do for a living now?
So right now I work for a small game company, and I am the HR and operations manager for that company. So I'm the only person in the company who is bilingual in Japanese and English. So I'm the person who stands between things between like Japan and the America side.
As an Okinawan American, how do you think it is like to work in Kanagawa, Yokohama?
I don't know about different reactions really, but like I will make it a point to say like I'm mixed Okinawan American, and then usually people will be like, oh, like, oh, you're Okinawan, like, you know, I've visited Okinawa before, and then we start talking about like things in Okinawa, and I think it's a good talking point for a lot of people, and my company, because it is an American company, even though we have an office in Yokohama, I think the employees in my company were quite diverse. So like even when I say I am Okinawan, they immediately know like where that is. It's they're very accepting, and it's a good place to work.
You also participated in Uchinanchu Festival, World Uchinanchu Festival last year in Okinawa.
Yes, it was my first time going to the Uchinanchu Taikai. It was amazing. I'm really glad I had the opportunity to go last year. My mom is part of the Indiana Okinawa Kenjinkai, so she has been a few times before, but it was always when I was in school, so I couldn't go with her. But last year, I just worked remotely from Okinawa while going to the Taikai events, so I was able to join, and I met so many cool people. I finally met like everyone that I connected with on Instagram, like over the pandemic, and it was a really good time to just finally connect with people in person, and I'll never forget it.
Is there any idea for the future of Okinawa you want it to be?
Yeah, just like the way things are going now in Okinawa, like with that new theme park that's being built, like the Janguriya, like I'm very against it. Like I just want things to keep trying to stay the way that they are, just like keep Okinawa, like keep the Ryukyus, like don't touch the island so much, like keep nature, keep it preserved, because like all these people keep coming in and like taking parts of the island to like build things. They build hotels, like apartments, hotels, theme parks, shopping malls, whatever, and it's like 少しずつなんか沖縄がなくなっていく。それが悲しい。I guess like all, Shimanchu Ryukyuans have to work together to like try to preserve Okinawa, try to preserve the culture, history, and make sure it stays as it is, as much as possible anyway. そう
確かにこれグレイスさんともやっぱ喋ってて、やっぱ we have to work collectively together.
Actually, Grace's song, the new song Okidoki, I keep listening to it on repeat. I love it. Grace, I love you. There's like this one line in her song that says like みんな助け合わないとなんか沖縄が奪われちゃうぞ。なんかその通り。So, I agree.
The message to leave. Any message to leave?
I would say, for people who are like just discovering their like Okinawan Shimanchu identity, like there's so many cool resources out there, like also like there's all of us that you can connect with on Instagram, like reach out to us, talk to us. There's like we have the Discord, the Shimanchu podcast is a good place to like listen to more about like our shared experiences. There's like Shimanchu pen pals is a good way to connect with fellow Shimanchu around the world. So just keep searching online for all these things and keep learning more about Okinawa and the Ryukyus and our history, and 頑張りましょう、縛りを。はい、ありがとうございます。Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.